Hey, you know how I mentioned in the episode I Am Anne Frank how everything was being very subtle and whether the aliens were real or whether Lucifer was really possessed or how much of this was actually happening? You know how in the last episode I mentioned something like things are becoming a little bit off, like a little bit predictable, but at the same time not. Well, everything kind of fell into place in a very unfortunate way in this episode. Remember how I mentioned I wasn't sure if Lucifer was possessed? Spoilers. She is. She's not nuts. She's possessed. She's possessed by the devil. There's no question. I'm still not sure about the aliens, though. I have a pretty good hunch. Remember how I mentioned whether Dr. Thredson his thing was sexual? It is. It's very, very sexual. Um, this is the episode Dark Cousin, and while this has a lot of really cool stuff in it, it also kind of screws the pooch in a couple of ways. Again, it kind of throws the mystery out the window and just goes, you know what? Let's just give answers to everything. There's still about 6 episodes left, but screw it. Like, if this episode came later, for the revelation's sake, again, I don't know what's going to happen next. Everything could fit perfectly, for all I know. But as of right now, in the series at least, it feels very. It feels like it's just like, here's all of the answers. Here's all of the vagueness gone away. And again, the last episode, Origin of Monstrosity, Origin of something like that. I'm watching this right after that one. Um, that episode had some answers, but it didn't. It left the vagueness of a lot of it still. Now this one has a lot of answers, some of which were good. Again, I don't like the concept of Dr. Dredson's stuff being sexual. That seems very off to me. Um, but again, um, and the vagueness of whether Lucifer was actually possessed has gone screaming out the window. Partially because she force palms Dr. Arden, and I mean she force palms him. And we also meet another character. This is probably one of the coolest things in the show so far. In terms of, like, I'm a big fan of Supernatural, so seeing this character, I had no problem. Seeing this character and having this character interact with a few characters and stuff like that. It's neat, and it works for what it is. The episode Dark Cousin. When the first episode first starts up, Lucifer kicks into high gear, and you realize, okay, this is the devil. There's no questions about this. She sees something written on the wall in, I think she described it as Old Aramaic, that this prisoner saw, or this prisoner wrote. He has no idea what it means, he just kind of wrote it. What's interesting is that both in this episode we see um, Sister Jude tempted by it, we see Grace eventually give in to it, and we see Lana almost give in to it. Which would be this character who is a woman in a black veil with black wings, which look bitchin', actually, which would be death. They never say it's death. In fact, they're very vague about that. I'll give them that. But it's death. There's no question. Maybe it might be like, I don't know, Azrael or Samael or something like that, but it's death. One of the angels of death. Again, they don't say a specific name, so I'm just gonna say death. Lana escapes from Dr. Thredson, only to hitch a ride with a guy who's about to kill himself on the road. And then she ends up back in Briarcliff anyway. Lady, your luck stinks. Like, she escapes him, That was one thing. Goes out into the road. Now, I don't know where exactly his house was located, but it better have been miles away from anywhere if we see another shot, because, like, he just could have gone, like, to a local restaurant. But she just could have like, gone to a local restaurant and been like, hey, serial killer, over that way. Follow me. And, everyone would just be like, okay. And I would have figured it out. And it kind of bugs me the fact that she was just, like, wandering around in, like, this half-wooded road. It was weird. Gets picked up by a guy who's immediately, like, my exact words were, if this guy's a serial killer, you're literally, like, sucks. Like, within 5 seconds of her getting in there. And then he starts acting weird, and I'm just like, oh, fuck. If I just called that. Sort of, going through a divorce with his wife, and there's some problems, and long story short, he killed himself. And yeah, car accident. She ends up in the exact same condition she was at the end of the first episode. In a hospital bed in Briarcliff. There is not enough wah-wah music on this planet to describe how unfortunate that was. But it was amusing. And it was horrifying, but at the same time I was just kind of like, really? You're going right back there, huh? Alright. Let's see, Dr. Thredson. Dr. Arden is only really seen in the first, like, 5 minutes. Ba 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 ba. What other characters are there that are something to go through? Yeah, Grace is dead. Kit killed the prison warden and escaped, which was interesting. Which was a very interesting choice on his part. That seemed off, but anyway. Yeah, killed the prison warden and escaped. Goes back to get Grace out. The nun sees him, screams. One of those experimental things of Dr. Arden's that was in the forest comes, kills the nun. Kit kills it by, the best way I can word it is disorganizing him. Because he took his organs out. He disorganized. It was funnier in my head. Shut up. Anyway. Usually I don't do puns, but that immediately came to my mind when I saw the scene. Anyway. Yeah, kills the experiment or whatever. Guard comes in, sees everything. Threatens to shoot him. Grace jumps in front of him. Has a moment with death. Blah, 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 blah. And I will say that I didn't know what else they could have done with Grace, so I'm kind of glad that they did kill her off at that time, just because she really wouldn't have served much more of a purpose, I guess. So I'm glad they at least they did what they did, and then they ended it. So yeah, I'm not mad about her death or anything. I think it was at the right time, so that doesn't bother me. What both does and confuses the hell out of me is Sister Jude's having these problems. She's having flashbacks. And eventually she says something like, when she finds out that Lucifran not only killed the Holocaust survivor, or the detective, or whatever, left the booze there so she'd get distracted and start drinking, and then left a razor there so she could kill herself. Now, number one, there was a cop-out because it shows her imagining doing it, and then she reveals that she actually didn't. I hate that. I hate when they do twists like that, but anyway. She has a conversation with Death, and then at the very end she goes, okay, there's one more thing I need to do. She goes to the family of the girl she killed. Starts talking like, is about to confess, when the girl she killed, or she thought she killed, walks in the door. Apparently she didn't die, she just had a couple of broken bones. Which would explain those clippings, which would explain the fact that she must have seen, like, the newspaper article that said she died. Or did she just assume? Like, that seems very off, actually. I'm not sure how much I like the fact that she was alive. In terms of giving Sister Jude second hope, sure. In terms of actually making a good story, no. So Sister Jude wasn't that good, and a lot of the other little twists and tingles weren't that good. And I don't know. This episode had a lot of cool stuff, but it also had a lot of stuff that I'm very just kind of about, I think is the main thing. So, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. Of course, I am. I'm this far in. I might as well. But I'm very conflicted about how much I'm liking this franchise now. About how much I'm liking this season. Again, I said this at the beginning, and then it went to Awesome Town. It can go right back there. So I haven't given up hope, that's for damn sure, but I'm still very kind of confused, I think is the word I'm going to use. So, we'll see what happens on the next episode, which is called, excuse me while I open up my DVD case and look at the thing, which says that the next episode is called Unholy Night. That's promising. And, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you for that episode. Have a good one.